burn the skin and irritate it. It would of course be particularly dangerous if it got into the eyes. Half the point of the chemistry set was that they exploded. They wanted to make these explosions in the bright colours to increase reds, making it like a magic trick. The explosions would burn, set the hair on fire, set the clothes on fire, damage the eyes, even blind a child. And of course, children wanted to share these with their friends, and they think nothing of putting some of the chemicals in their pockets when they went out. And of course, that could burn holes in the material and then in the skin, or even catch fire spontaneously.
With some chemicals, the 14-year-old was essentially experiments with his own chemistry set, but he put it in his pocket and went to the pictures later. He was sitting watching the show when his clothes began to smoulder. A man sitting nearby wrapped his coat round the boy to smother the burning coal. The accident was due to body heat, igniting the chemicals in his pocket.
Today, health and safety regulations are more stringent than they were in 1957.
Hello, Ralph. Good morning.
To do an experiment to illustrate how lethal this kit could be.
Right now, in here we have the bandinate, which is the chemical we saw in the purple chemical that was in the kit.
Nez Shah, our lab technician, is going to add glycerin, a clear, odourless liquid that might have been found in a home medicine cabinet, as it was used to treat constipation and sore throats.
So here, what we're going to do is just make a little pile of the potassium permanganate in the middle, and then I'm just going to pour a couple of drops of the glycerol on top. So it sort of looks like nothing's happening. Ah, there we go.
Oh wow.
Oh my goodness. It's not necessarily child's play.
So it's quite a lot of smoke and some beautiful purple flames.
And quite a smell.
Yeah, a little bit of the smell.
Oh my word. And that hesitation, that moment of it looking like nothing's going to happen is the most dangerous thing of all, isn't it?
Well, if I was a child, I'd have moved on to something else by then.
Nez only used a small amount of potassium permanganate and a drop of glycerin. Imagine if we'd been more liberal in the amounts we used.
A warning is sounded in Epsom inquest today that there are grave dangers in letting children play with chemicals which are in themselves harmless, but in combination may
Hindi pa, matagal-tagal pa siguro.
died in hospital from injuries received in an explosion which also injured a boy companion.
Unsurprisingly, the American chemistry kits were even more spectacular.
There was even an American chemistry set that included uranium dust and a mini Geiger counter, so that children could do experiments and measure the radiation. The company didn't stop making it because of the dangers of the dust. It just didn't sell very well. Uranium actually wasn't very exciting. It didn't explode puffs of smoke, and nobody wanted to buy it.
Eventually, new laws came in which required the kits to be non-explosive and non-toxic. But it's worth remembering what the chemistry set manufacturers used to say. Experimenter today, scientist tomorrow.
I think the really interesting thing about chemistry sets, if you interview eminent scientists nowadays, many of them will actually say it was having a chemistry set as a child that sparked their interest in the science.
I'm in search of our next hidden killer. The 1950s home had benefited from the technological developments of the war. There was a brief suffuse in the age that science could transform everything. And it did. In the 1950s...
Ralph, kuya, I have to admit sa lahat ng mga color pencil drawings ko, ito yung pinaka-favorite ko.
Prize was awarded for advances in molecular chemistry. Suddenly, all of these things that weren't possible before became possible.
Ako naman parang nabibuild na sa akin na parang ito yung pinakamahirap.
This was when our love affair with plastics.
Rafa shots, stop.
You have the hard and transparent plastic in the eye holes of the gas
Rafa
masks.
shots, so
You have
do
these
Brazil.
flexible foam toys.
So,
and then you had so many other different plastic objects.
Plastics are made of polymers. The breakthrough is understanding that polymers are very large molecules. What's special about them is that different types of polymers can make hard or soft, flexible or rigid forms. So they can be manufactured into a range of products, from furniture to clothing.
These objects that would previously have been luxury items now began to be mass-produced objects and available to ordinary people. There was, I suppose, a democratization. It just made things possible for the ordinary person. And we're looking forward to a brighter future and the future of plastics.
One of the things that plastics could make were comfortable new polyurethane sofas. The perfect setting for the 1950s family to relax with a cigarette. These are the days when smoking was part of the background of everyday life. A combination which would prove to be particularly problematic.
Sina Deadpool at Wolverine po kasi yung mga favorite superheroes.
Died in a fire at their home on December 19th. The fire is believed to have been
Excited na ako sa 26 na mapanood siya.
cigarette ignited a settee. This accident was caused by a householder who fell asleep while smoking, an inexcusable practice.
So Emma, we're not just hanging out in these lovely chairs in this yard for no reason. What are these about?
These are an example of post-war 1950s style furniture. In the post-war period, we began to use polyurethane forms. Polyurethane forms are semi-rigid forms that allow a level of comfort without being permanently compressed, without being very hard. And they allow for a number of different shapes and styles.
So we needed this development in order to have this kind of change in design.
Yes, we did. Polyurethane formed sofas are much more comfortable than the early horsehair type and the hard black chairs that we used to have. So there was a big change at that point in time. But that big change came at a cost.
That cost was realised by one man.
A 26-year-old Halifax man and his young wife escaped from a smoke-filled bedroom by climbing through a smashed window and down a rope of knotted sheets to the ground. The husband ran barefoot over 200 yards of rough track to his father-in-law's house to call the fire brigade. The fire is believed to have been caused by a cigarette dropping onto a settee.
Plastic itself as a singular form, it is flammable, but it's not overly flammable. You have to give it all the electric to get it going. It's the additive that you put with the plastic to turn it into like a polystyrene or into a foam for a mattress or foam for your settee. So it was usually the additive that was put into it, which was the flammable piece.
That means that those forms and the materials that cover the chairs can be affected by cigarettes or a match if you were to drop one, and then they can burn very quickly and very freely.
However, it's not just the fact that these materials caught fire easily, but how they burn that was the problem.
The way that the polyurethane burns is actually in and of itself dangerous. So the form forms a liquid that runs down the material to form a pool underneath. And that pool becomes ignited. So when you can have a flowing pool of burning liquid, it's almost like having a flammable liquid fire, like petrol underneath your sofa. That's how bad it can be.
But that wasn't the only issue.
These substances can give off very toxic fumes. And in fact, if you were in a room with foam that was burning, the cyanide gas that was given off would kill you long before the flames or the heat would.
wasn't only the new plastic furniture that could cause a problem. Cheap and easy to wash plastic clothing caused a sensation.
Ralph, kuya, I was thinking na mag-drawing ng mga other Disney characters. Oh, maganda yan. After ng mga Jungle Book characters. Lalo ko bang mag-drawing yung mga emotions ng Inside Out po, kuya. Maganda. Para makatry ka naman ng ibang ano din. Aside from religious portraits, medyo makapag ibang style.
There would have been open fires, there may have been electric fires probably without guards on them. Some little bombar fires didn't have guards at all for a while. So certainly there was a lot of different opportunities to get yourself going.
Laura Rhodes, aged 85, died in hospital from burns and shock received from when her nightdress caught fire in front of an electric fire.
Synthetic clothing, for example, when it starts to burn very dangerously, it melts. And so it's often the melting drops of plastic onto the skin that can cause really severe deep burns.
The January 1955 issue of Picture Post highlighted the dangers.
There was a serious problem with youngsters, particularly the girls, in front of the fire, wearing lovely frilly nighties, looking ever so sweet. Trouble was, the spark might come out the fire, or they might lean a little bit too close, and whoosh, the nylon nightie would just go up in flames, leaving horrendous burns, or maybe even killing the child.
Seen joy, sadness, anger, disgust, fear, anxiety, ennui, envy, at sea, embarrassment. Ang dami.
The Royal Society for the Prevention of Accidents had a campaign to raise awareness.
Envy yung
They noticed the
cutest.
significant difference in the number of incidents between boys and girls. They had a suggestion.
We wanted people to go over to wear pyjamas, which were much neater and tidy around the body, and of course to go out the fire.
In October 1954, an Act of Parliament decreed
Fuchs,
gas and
Book
electric
Zero
fires must be
Drawings.
manufactured
Wow,
with
thank you.
zero. And while furniture today is protected by fire retardant, there are no such rules for pajamas. Now I'm going to the living room to find out the living room. One of the luxury items that made its way into the house in the early 1950s was the television. The coronation in June 1953 was one of the first events to challenge the supremacy of radio. It turned a fledgling service into the beginning of the mass medium it is today. By 1956, there was a television in every second house. It was designed to fit into the room like a piece of furniture, and the family gathered around it. It's a cosy scene, but one that sometimes had deadly consequences.
Mr. George Skipper, his wife, 7-year-old daughter and mother-in-law, escaped unhurt by climbing down a ladder after they were trapped in the burning home. The outbreak originated in the television set, which had inadvertently been left switched on and had become overheated.
Insufficient insulation in the loudspeaker of the television set caused the death of Victor Smith, aged 4, in Kebworth. He was found dead near the set at his home.
Some television models have not taken into account just how dangerous the combination of electrical wiring, wood, poor insulation and ventilation could be. The Home Secretary was forced to address the subject and announced
A new British standard specification for TV sets, including revised safety precautions in the light of recent experience, is nearing completion.
public enthusiasm went from strength to strength. In 1959, 10 million television licenses were issued. The mass medium was here to stay. That's the TV sorted. Our next living room could be anywhere in the house. Before the war, most people rented their homes. But during the 1950s, more people were able to buy. wages grew at a faster rate than house prices. Many were in need of modernisation. And it was almost impossible to get more tradesmen whose clothes were tied up with reconstructing in Britain. The only option was to do it yourself, and so an epidemic of home improvement gripped the nation.
This was really the DIY generation. Dulux paintbrush was in 1953. Black and Decker started.
Ralph, yung mga Jungle Book characters po kaya binase ko po siya sa actual na cartoon.
For the happy householder with time and money on their hands and new materials and technologies at their fingertips, domestic utopia was within reach. The public were increasingly being exposed to all of these wonderful things through new magazines and the magic of television.
It was encouraged as a family to get involved. It was like going for a walk in the park. You know, we decorate the bathroom or the lounge, or we cut this door or we knock this down. You were encouraged as a family to do it, as a family event.
And why not? The family that DIYs together stays together.
This is the first edition of Practical Householder, and if we take a look at the index, we see the range of things people could be doing at home by themselves. So we've got paper hanging, making rugs, concrete pads and floors. So there's an enormous range.
Building your own laundry. That's the ambition, isn't it?
They certainly were. People believed they could instill new life into their homes without professional help for a fraction of the price. But they were seemingly oblivious to the perils. The doyen of DIY, Barry Buck, was after all a reassuring presence. His television programs on doing it yourself attracted at their peak over 7 million views.
He had the best TV show on in the 1950s, most watched. He was getting something in the region of 35,000 letters a week. He had 6 or 8 secretaries working for him, just going through the envelopes. That was phenomenal.
I don't know whether you've got a problem like this, a rather ugly old hand drawer. It's one that can be sold quite simply. You can make it look like this.
You know, almost like a hero then, to get people into the idea, get going and change your house, get the light, make it the colour on the walls, and mould up the staircase and paint it, or pull that Victorian fireplace out and mould it up, but colour that Victorian door with plywood and paint it, and to transform your house to that one that you might have seen advertised, that brand new one.
It's looking really very much good.
But he later became known to some as Potter. They saw his desire to strip out what he called clutter as the willful destruction of original features.
An internal job.
So he was the driving force behind the DIY, but also he caused big problems. I heard stories that they reckon he destroyed more houses than their roof offer because of his changes, his radical changes that he wanted to do in homes.
And that, I think, has certainly changed the appearance of the door, but
Barry was a professional. He knew what he was doing. His disciples, however, didn't necessarily have the experience or the skills.
Lots of new feature, DIY happening high up on ladders. So these are really precarious.
And this man is holding something very heavy. So it's all a bit of a disaster waiting to happen, isn't it?
Where the magazine don't address health and safety, they must definitely have been aware of the dangers. So this is a comic strip that appears in most of them, and you can see he's on a set of ladders, painting, but he manages to fall through.
Robert Lyons, aged 29, died from injuries received in falling from a ladder while painting the upstairs window of his room. The ladder was too close to the wall and he had fallen backwards.
Mrs. Agnes Hyde, aged 45, was killed when a ladder that her husband was lowering overbalanced and struck her on the head.
But everyone knows that ladders can be treacherous. What they didn't know was that some of these planks were toxic. Asbestos was used around the house and garage, with lasting and hideous consequences. New extra strong adhesives could be it inhaled.
This contact adhesive was pretty nasty stuff. I remember using it as an apprentice. First time I used it, I think I spent most of the day floating about a foot off the floor. And the next day, I spent most of the time drinking water and trying to get my throat to calm down and my nostrils to calm down because it burnt all the inside of my nostrils and my throat. It was horrendous stuff.
The manufacturers, realising the public's interest, produced a range of power tools for the DIY enthusiast. A potentially huge market ahead for professional trade. Electric drills were on sale for £5, available to buy in monthly instalments, and advertised as the family favourite. The king of power tools was indeed but these power tools could be dangerous.
Mr. Guy, aged 27, was found about 15 feet from his houseboat with the electric drill in his hand. Under the conditions in which it was used, in water, it became a lethal weapon. Had he been standing on dry land, he would not have had a shock.
It's an important, which professionals were used to using, but as you as a DIY expert and trader in Australia, were expected to use.
Not all power tools use the safety features we know today.
If you're cutting something and perhaps you're running into your leg, or you cut your fingers, or whatever you've done, it doesn't automatically cut off as soon as you think of it. You actually look for the switch. If you're not, the longer you're looking for it, the more damage it's doing to you.
Nothing, it seemed, was out of bounds for the do-it-yourselfers.
A young girl died of electrocution in her bathroom as she touched the electric warming towel rail while standing in the bath. Her father told the university of the death that he had installed the rail in the bathroom 5 years before. A faulty adapter failed to earth the appliance.
Perhaps installing your own electric tower should not have been
It was a bit of a problem because people were not necessarily very familiar with wiring. So you would get problems with things badly wired, plugs badly screwed in so that there were bits of wire hanging at the bottom and they weren't properly held so they would work free and short and fire. So there were some problems with electrocution and fire.
Mr. Oliver of West Hartlepool Fire Service said many fires were started through faulty electrical wiring, which was often the work of the amateur electrician.
The public were advised when it came to electricity, don't do it yourself. Use a professional.
They were a lot smarter in those days. I can't imagine any electrician turning out looking like that now. I think I'd probably wonder if he was an electrician if he did.
But our passion for DIY has never waned. Our desire to restore and revitalise marches on, thanks to bank holidays and Barry. Thanks, Barry. And then for kitchen, to find out how one caused me in the post-war era. The kitchen became so important to the stage because it moved from being a private space into a public one. It became a place to entertain guests, and so attention was paid to what this previously hidden room looked like. And of course, it was the woman's place in the home. In October 1955, in Woman's Own, it described the kitchen as the heart and centre of the meaning of home, the place where, day after day, you make with your hands the gifts of love. 14 years of food rationing finally came to an end on the 4th of July 1953, when restrictions on meat and bacon were lifted. Not surprisingly, life in the kitchen suddenly became a whole lot more fun. And gifts of love abounded. It means, of course, that people are able to get more foodstuffs, a wider range of things, and they're able freely to go out and buy as much as they want. So they can really indulge, if you like, or buy as much butter as they want to after having really sort of had to live by their ration goods for a very long time. People were excited about new possibilities.
But shy,
And into this gap
cool,
came cookery writers.
crazy,
Writers like Elizabeth
genuinely
Gilbert
talented.
and
Thank you.
infused food with passion.
Draw with Peter. Polychromos po ba yan, sir? Yes,
Tastes
yes.
were changing, quite literally. And demand for meat in particular went through the roof.
The ideal for British farming is to have a roast meat, a beef, or a peaceful lamb. But what happens after 1955 also is that gradually chicken is brought into British diet to a much greater extent.
Livestock, like cattle, could simply not be reared per herd and the numbers needed to satisfy demand. Chickens, however, could. Chickens had accounted for only 1% of British meat consumption in the 1950s. But now its moment had arrived, thanks to a revolution in modern British agriculture. Intensive rearing and factory farming were introduced, and the resulting cheap chicken meat transformed the British diet.
So in 1954, 5 million table chickens were available for consumption in this country. And by 1959, it's 75 million.
Feeding an extra 70 million birds was a colossal undertaking, and one that could only be achieved by importing
Kuya Bin, di ka pa panood ko lang yung Prismacolor versus Polychromos videos.
wasn't it?
Parang nakalimutan ko na ata siya. Tagal na yung video niya.
Artificial foods like ground meat and these
Oo. Yung kay ano siguro, yung parang,
So
ano ba siya? Yung kay Elvis Presley ata.
also are being fed some more contaminated food.
So the chickens were affected by what they were eating. The intensive conditions in which they were kept, processed and packaged aggravated the matter. And then they landed in the post-war kitchen, bred, dead, and ready to be roasted.
An analysis of outbreaks of food poisoning showed that the largest number occurred in the home. Many outbreaks were due to insufficient knowledge by housewives.
Why was this?
The post-war period is the time at which domestic service really disappears from middle-class homes. So middle-class women sometimes feel rather hard done by because they're having to fend for themselves and do most of the household work and labour for themselves. And of course this might create more problems in the kitchen.
I go
because,
for
of course, they
Polychromos
have been
pencils.
obliged to take primary responsibility for cooking and feeding the family, which they may have found difficult if they've been brought up in a home where all that work had been done by servants.
The housewife plays a cardinal role in this story, partly because she is the person who handles the chicken in the house.
The hapless housewife was ever thus, tasked with putting food in the mouths of her family, not realising that tonight's supper is already a heaving mass of bacteria, then inadvertently up the ante even further.
Well into the 50s, you can still buy chicken. Sometimes there are what's called New York dress, which means that they've got their guts left intact. They've got comes to their heads attached, and the housewife would expect to do that again. She might or might not wash chicken when she gets to home, and she might well not wash her own hands when she's finished.
And as such, she was
Draw with
absolutely
Peter.
spread
Anong
this
paper
information
gamit
to
ko
the
dyan,
world.
sir? Strathmore Bristol 300 series vellum surface.
Matthew Avison's laboratory to find out what the post-war chicken cooking housewife didn't know about salmonella.
Mr. Grimlock.
Because salmonella was
Grabe
so
yung mukha
deadly,
ni Hugh Jackman po ang ko.
Matthew
Salamat.
contaminated some chicken with a similar, effectively less lethal bacteria. I'm going to show 4 different ways of cleaning my hands after handling chicken, so we can demonstrate just how pernicious this bacteria works.
So what I want you to do is just touch the chicken, and then we're going to make an imprint of your fingers on this indicator plate.
Okay? The first one, I don't clean my hands at all.
And I'll just lift the lid, and you just put your fingers onto the surface.
sure this would do the trick.
It makes it feel a bit slimy, but actually, yes. Yeah, so when you're touching the meat, it feels slimy, but that's not actually the bacteria. That's just the meat. You don't feel the bacteria.
After the third time of touching the chicken, I wash my hands in lovely clean water. And lastly, I touch the chicken, then wash thoroughly with soap and water.
It actually takes a huge number of bacteria to infect somebody, particularly if you're healthy, between about 1 million and 1 billion bacteria, but you can't see them. And so the food that we're eating may look, smell and taste completely normal.
Okay, Matthew, let's see some results then.
Okay, so these are some plants that have been incubated overnight. And this is the first one. So this is with the unwashed hands. So this is just after touching the bacteria. The darker colours are the bacteria. There are so many bacteria, I mean, you can't see individual colonies, individual spots. There are literally thousands and thousands of bacteria on your finger. After rinsing your hands under the tap though, that's just simply the act of washing the bacteria down the sink. We're not killing the bacteria at all. You're actually making some significant strides to reducing the numbers. There's still quite a few bacteria, but you can see individual colonies.
The biggest difference of all that comes from using soap, which doesn't kill the bacteria.
What soap does is it just improves the ability of us to wash away the bacteria from our skin. So there's still some bacteria.
Matthew estimates that simply wiping your hands reduces the level of contamination by maybe 10 times, while washing your hands with soap reduces contamination by probably 100,000 times.
So in short, if they brought meat into the house that had been contaminated in this way and did anything with it and then didn't wash their hands really thoroughly, it could get everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only into your mouth, but also onto the other food that you're preparing, onto the surfaces around you, onto your utensils, onto your children. Onto your children, absolutely.
If somebody eats salmonella-infected food, between a day and 2 days after eating it, start to develop symptoms, and those are like things like diarrhea, abdominal pain, and some sort of vomiting. Most people who develop salmonella food poisoning would recover within 5 to 7 days. It would be unpleasant, but they wouldn't need any particular treatment. But if you're particularly young, say babies and young children, or old, or if your immune system is suppressed for any other reason, perhaps you've got cancer or some other disease, then you're much more susceptible to really severe infection. And in that case, it's possible that the bacteria will get into the bloodstream and then spread around the body, and then it could affect other areas such as the brain, cause meningitis, which could be fatal, or septicemia, blood poisoning.
Today, 60 years later, intensive farming conditions have improved, and successive public health campaigns have resulted in a better understanding of food hygiene in the home. There's no reason why you should be at risk from this particular hidden killer nowadays, is there? I'm off to find our next hidden killer in the bath.
Caroline, were there any instances where you started drawing and felt unmotivated after some time, causing you making mistakes which led you to throw away your artwork? Just happened to me right now. Oh, many times, especially when I was a beginner. But not so much about being unmotivated, but just just the frustration of not getting it right. Because when I'm unmotivated, I just stop drawing and do something else, and then I come back when I'm motivated again. But when I do something and I feel like I'm not getting it right, like there is something off with the drawing, I just throw them away. and there are times that I had to redo the if it is a commission portraits, I don't have any choice but to redo it. But if it is like just a practice piece, well, I just throw them away. I had that so many times. So, and I was not using cheap materials. It was usually like uh, basically like typically is expensive materials or papers. But yeah, when I'm frustrated, I just throw them away.
Records show that about 4,000 people died from the swamp, although more recently calculations made that up to 12,000, and about 100,000 became ill because of it.
This nightmarish episode produced more civilian casualties in Britain than any single event of the entire Second World War, and was the catalyst for replacing coal fires in the home.
But looking back, I'm actually happy that I have those moods and that I get frustrated easily because it taught me a lot. It taught me a lot of things about doing it right. About it challenged me actually to be better the next time.
Ban on the open coal fire in hundreds of thousands of houses in big industrial areas can be ordered by local councils.
Mariana.
As homes became less reliant on coal
Hello,
fires,
hello, Mariana.
gas appliances were introduced, and into the bathroom came gas boilers and heating.
In the early 1950s, they brought into the bathroom to produce hot water for your bath. There was a self-contained bottle. Turn the little tap on, and you just empty it into the bathroom. So jump in and try it.
What could be more unpleasant? It is a problem when you bring a gas boiler into a small place.
Ralph, ikaw nga po experienced best teacher. True, true.
A fireman broke down the door of the
Even if it means bad experiences, it still teach you more.
Pathologists say death was due to carbon monoxide poisoning.
To burn 1 cubic metre of gas, you need around 10 cubic metres of fresh air full of oxygen. The problem occurs when you haven't got enough oxygen, so if you're in a cramped place, the windows are sealed to try and keep the heat in, then the gas will burn to form carbon monoxide, and this is very toxic.
Carbon monoxide is produced by the incomplete burning of fossil fuels. It is dangerous when the boiler is insufficiently sealed and the toxic gases are allowed back into the room while the exhaust into the atmosphere.
You're in that nice shiny pretty bathroom. You've got the door shut, your window shut, keep the drafts out, and you're just sitting there absorbing all this carbon monoxide. You think you're getting nice and relaxed because of the hot water, and it's not, it's the carbon monoxide, which is slowly putting you to sleep.
Forensic fire expert Emma Wilson has designed an experiment to show me just how quickly this silent, deadly gas can be produced in a sealed environment. She will use butane gas in a sealed tank to simulate a bathroom with a gas boiler in it. In the corner of the tank is a modern-day carbon monoxide detection where we use in our homes today.
Now, if you will help me put this on the top, so that we can see as if we're around bathroom. Exactly.
Just by burning our food in a sealed environment, we're going to produce a deadly gas.
Yes, we are. As the combustion of the gas becomes less efficient because there's less oxygen, we produce more and more carbon monoxide.
When gas burns normally, 2 oxygen molecules attach to it, making carbon dioxide. When there is less oxygen available, the gas can only attach to 1 molecule, making carbon monoxide, a toxic gas. In addition, the steam from the hot bath interferes with the ability of the flame to burn correctly. And in a sealed room, once the oxygen is used up, it is not replaced. It took just 3 minutes for the carbon monoxide detector alarm to be activated. The sealed tank is now full of poisonous gas.
That's the detector sending to let us know that carbon monoxide in that compartment is now at dangerous level.
Right, so nowadays we can put in the detector and we can know about it,
Yes.
and it's, pretty shrieking, but apart from the sound it's telling us as well, we haven't got any smell, we haven't got any obvious signs of it. No.
Oh, so you could be sitting there in that bath, you're not in the bath, you shut the doors and windows, you're having time to yourself, the boiler's going, and it's producing this gas that could make you sick and kill you.
Yes.
I'm just slightly blown away by the fact that it's just completely visible.
Henry King, aged 41, was found dead in a bath at his home. He probably inhaled the carbon monoxide first, then slipped into the water. There is no official supervision over installation of gas geysers, the borough coroner was told.
When it's inhaled, our hemoglobin, which is the substance in the blood that carries oxygen from our lungs to all of our tissues where it's needed, the affinity for carbon monoxide is over 200 times more than the affinity for oxygen, which is what that hemoglobin should be carrying. So it means if there's carbon monoxide in the air that you breathe in, it will bind to the hemoglobin. When that hemoglobin passes around to the tissues, it doesn't release any oxygen present, and it doesn't release the carbon monoxide. And so your tissues start to be starved of oxygen. And it's really like suffocating the body from the inside.
It was colourless, tasteless, and odorless. The absolute definition of a
At low doses, carbon monoxide can cause headaches, flu-like symptoms, confusion and dizziness. But if you have a lot of carbon monoxide, it can be rapidly fatal and stop the heart because your entire body is starved of oxygen.
The heating apparatus in the bathroom was criticised at a Dundee inquiry into the death of Peter Moran, aged 25, who was found dead by his father. Police surgeon Dr. Dorward said, the method of heating water for a bathroom is a very dangerous one because of the bad vent.
Over the decades, gas appliances have improved, and it is understood that if they are incorrectly installed or not regularly serviced, there can be fatal consequences. Still today, legislation only governs landlords. Homeowners themselves are responsible for keeping their houses safe from this toxic gas. Gas-safe regulations cover the installation of boilers in bathrooms, but even so, there are still around 4,000 cases of carbon monoxide poisoning and 40 deaths every year in Britain. My school friend was one of them. My final hidden killer can be found all over the house, but I'm going in search of the kitchen vault, into the heart of the woman's domain. We have seen it. Now we see how the woman on-tap electricity brought considerable danger into the shiny world of appliances. The magazines are full of adverts showing women breezily vacuuming their houses in high heels. One article was even entitled, Cinderella would have stayed at home if her fairy godmother had first conjured up all this kitchen equipment.
After the Second World War, the main technology that people have in their kitchens is the gas cooker. But we start to get the fridge, we get the vacuum cleaner coming in, also washing machines and also eventually freezers. These technologies really do make quite a difference to women's everyday lives.
Gadgets are previously inexpensive luxuries. Now there is an explosion of new affordable brands. All marketing has taken the luxury to the hospital.
This is an answer from James' story, titled What Electric Living Means to Women. And she says that people like myself who have a full-time job, plus a home and family to look after, such labour-saving automatic service is a tremendous thing. If you think about the domestic labour involved, for example, in the weekend washing, say a family with a large number of children and you have to wash all of their clothes and dry them by hand,
you can imagine just how much difference something like a washing machine really would have made to women's lives. So this booklet looks at what your Monday to Friday routine.
Hello, Nick Decor Art.
If that's on Wednesday, they'll actually clean all the floors and polish where necessary. So actually, it's a 4-week schedule, isn't it? For the housewife who's also going out to work.
Exactly.
But these labour-saving devices, welcomed with open arms by the housewife, sometimes resulted in undesirable consequences.
Mrs. Horner, aged 25, was found dead at home 6 weeks after her marriage. A modern electric iron found by her body was produced, and exposed terminals under a broken section pointed out to the coroner.
Unscrupulous manufacturers produced goods that were shoddily made, badly designed, even downright dangerous.
Things like kettles. Somebody came up with a wonderful idea of making a kettle and plug the lead in. When it got to a certain temperature, it sparked the electric needle. Now, I don't think it needs to be a scientist to work this. There's not that many kettle points in the kitchen. There's obviously one straight right by the side of the sink. You're doing your dishes, your kettle's plugged in, it shoots the power supply straight out into the sink.
People often didn't really understand real appliances, which led to some horrendous accidents.
Irene Claydon, aged 58, died instantaneously from heart failure caused by an electric shock. Caused by the full-sized electric blanket in her bed. An electrical engineer said that it was dangerous to sleep with an electric blanket switched on.
The trouble is people don't always read the instructions. So often they think, this doesn't work properly, or I'll stick a knife in and it will come out. And people learn electrocuted through toasters, or the toasters caught fire, because they probably didn't use them as they've been instructed, if they ever bothered to read the instructions.
The Courier newspaper in Aberdeen consulted a local electrician as to the safest way of handling appliances. He told them,
Electrical appliances used in the home nowadays are safe, if respected and treated with care. The danger of ignorance of these appliances or wear and tear on them has been emphasized recently by a number of burning accidents.
another solution came from the Electrical Association for Women, who urged that girls should be educated.
For heaven's sake, teach them how to look after the beautiful electrical apparatus they are now getting, so the girls who will be future housewives will at least know the rudiments of how to look after the apparatus.
Education would surely help, but some products were overused and poorly maintained.
They would have dodgy connections, they might spark a bit when you use them. But then it won't be on, I'll get one next week or when payday comes. But obviously you really do need to keep them maintained and changed, and make sure that you only buy them from a proper electrical retailer.
There could be a high price to pay if you didn't.
Mrs. Montgomery died from an electric shock sustained when using an electric iron. Mr. Montgomery stated that his wife had told him about the electric iron failing and breaking. She had tied the blanket and string. It is a deplorable instance of the dangers of using electric equipment which is not in proper order, commented Sheriff Hamilton.
The Electrical Trades Union reported that
some of these accidents could have been prevented had there been some control over the manufacture of appliances and enforcement of the regulations.
in October 1954, in a debate in the House of Lords on safety in the home, Lord Cook complained of the constant sale of very cheap electrical purchases. Lord Mountbatten thought the government had done what it could, and that the final responsibility rests with the individual, the person in the home. Consumers, though, had had enough. They decided that they needed more automation in order to look after their own interests.
Which magazine was set up in 1957 to provide an independent review of products for consumers. By the time this one was published in 1959,
The Consumers Association, which produced it, had 150,000 members. And this represents a sense that nowadays it wasn't enough to trust manufacturers' claims. Not everything could be taken at face value. Consumers need someone on their side. Consumer power had its roots in the post-war era and continues today.
The post-war years were a period of affluence, euphoria and optimism that led to unprecedented experimentation and development in science and technology. And the home was the crucible of the changes. Such innovation made great breakthroughs in the lives of the post-war generation. It also brought profound and invisible dangers. As consumers became more aware and began to stand up for themselves, manufacturers were increasingly
Bubblegum baddie.
Such was the fate
Oh,
of
that's
science
amazing.
to solve
Thank you,
the
thank you.
problems of the future, that many of the killers remained undetected for decades. At least we've identified them today. But who knows what we've missed?
Just as I continue dreaming of your breath. Continue dreaming of the open, waiting for the day. In space was again. Skyline beating fly. Laugh and cry, even die from darkness. The church sang, lost alone, stream free singing. Yes. Distant changes in just the skyline, pigeon dreaming of the open, waiting for the day. Ralph, kuya, naalala niyo po ba yung sinabi ko ni Chuck sa mga customers niyo dati? Merong mga artist here to the drawing din ng portrait na yan. Oo. Tsaka sa TikTok. ADJS Word Art. ADJS Word Art. Fly away again. Skyline pitching fire. Thank you, ADJS Word. Pinapanood ko po sila Kuya Belarus. Sinabi ko na. Wow, thank you, Raf. Just the skyline, pigeon dreaming of the open, waiting for the day where he can spread his wings. Again. Skyline, pigeon fly. Towards dream. Listen to you sing, most of all, screaming from the sinking. Towards the sun, the skyline, beating, dreaming of the open. time. I've been looking out to find geometry. Just have to be deep. Yes. So tired. Until it's somewhere. just have to be content with stealing glances. Just play for time. A feeling I never outgrew. Tears pain. Marion R. You've been doing this drawing for a while. You're doing a great job. Thank you. Have you been doing it longer than... Yeah. It's a couple of weeks already because I'm not just focusing with this one portrait. I'm doing it side by side with other portraits as well. So but the goal is to finish it before the showing of the movie, which is on July 26. We just have to be content with stealing glances. if I'm not made for you, then I too that I will.